Hey, here we go. All right, we can see it over here. Guys, in the comments, let us know if you can hear us loud and clear. We're gonna jump right into things. We just wanna make sure that all of our ducks are in a row. Thank you to everyone who is tuning in now, or if you jump on in a little bit, or if you watch this a little bit later. If you can help us out, hit that like button. If you want to continue to hear from Lindsay and I about shoe reselling, consider subscribing to our channel. What up, Planet Space? And in the next 30 to 45 seconds, we are going to get started. What up, Gnome and the Frog? Who else is checking in?
Ken Croft is listing shoes while he listens.
Smart, Ken. I like it.
Michael Walker is excited to hear where everyone is sourcing now that Burlington's and Marshalls have been cleared out.
Good, cool.
Nave, I believe, N-A-V-E. Hey guys, I've been binging your videos to start my flipping side hustle. Excited to catch today's live stream. That's awesome. Amanda Jones, Harold Gonzalez, Emily Conway.
What's going on, everybody?
Michael Christensen.
What we do here on our YouTube channel is we share everything we do, how we do it, where we do it, why we do it, things of that nature, so you can leapfrog some of the mistakes that we have made and get closer to daily consistent wins. We only talk about things that we do. And today we're super excited to talk about Facebook Marketplace, and more specifically, talk about local meetups. So today's conversation, we're not gonna talk about shipping, we're not gonna talk about the post office or anything of that. We're gonna focus around meeting people in your local community, let's call it within 50 miles of where you live, and hand delivering shoes to them. Now, the reason that we are qualified to talk about this is because we built our entire shoe reselling business in the very beginning 3 years ago, only reselling on Facebook Marketplace. We have sold, up until present day, we've now sold over $50,000 in shoes on Facebook Marketplace, both new and used shoes. And the majority of that, the 50,000 in sales, is pairs that we were selling for $25 a pair. And the reason that we are pointing that out is because we're going to talk about a proven model today, something that can be replicated in the city or town, village, wherever you live, can be replicated, what we're going to share with you today. We also are really excited to talk about Facebook Marketplace because a lot of times people tend to get discouraged if they don't build momentum on online marketplaces like Poshmark, like Mercari, and this is an opportunity where they're literally, we always squash all excuses. Hey-o! What do we got?
Amanda Jones, a $4.99 super chat, says thanks to you guys.
Thank you.
That's so nice.
Thank you so much, Amanda. That's really, really kind of you. We really appreciate that. The reason, again, we're so excited about talking about Facebook Marketplace is it doesn't matter if there was 1 million people watching this right now. You can take exactly what we're going to talk to you today and apply it in your local community. It doesn't matter if everyone around the country is doing this. You can be very, very successful, and yes, you can pay all of your bills only selling on Facebook Marketplace. Again, this isn't going to be theory. This isn't going to be like a we think it'll work, go try this. We're only going to be Lindsay and I are only going to be talking about what we did. We drove around our area within 50 miles of where we live, and we delivered shoes every single day. When we first started, it was really hard because we didn't know what we were doing, and then we built a little momentum, and we want to talk to you about how we built that momentum. And then we built our Facebook Marketplace local delivery business up to where we were waking up in the morning, and we had scheduled deliveries all day long, and we would come home at the end of the night with a giant pile of cash. And then, of course, we would deposit that money into the bank. Hey-o, Michael Walker.
Thank you.
Thank you so
$5 super chats.
Thank you, guys.
Gets me every time when these pop up. Like,
we really do appreciate that, and that means a lot to us. We appreciate it. If you guys have any questions as we get started, what we want to do is spend the first couple minutes literally talking about that. We kind of gave you a little outline. We want to share exactly what we did, some of the things that can be replicated, and then, of course, if you guys have questions as we go, make sure you're putting them in the comments below. It means the world to us.
Michael Walker, who sent that, said find something dope at the thrifts.
Oh, hell yeah.
Get a pair of shoes with that.
I'll tell you what, Michael, we can do a lot with $5 at the thrift, man. We appreciate that.
The other thing with Facebook Marketplace, and we obviously only sell shoes right now, but when we started, we were selling all sorts of stuff, and you can sell anything on Facebook Marketplace. So it could literally, like, we started with toaster ovens and Keurigs and whatever we first had in our house that we didn't want anymore, and then at thrift stores. So we focus on shoes now, and now only sell shoes on Facebook Marketplace, but you can sell anything on there.
Yeah.
It's sweet because you do it all locally. So you don't have to ship it, so you don't have to figure out how to ship like bulky items, or if you wanted to do like a coffee table or anything.
Yeah. Whoa, Darren said found a lady selling 5 pairs of Hokas for $30. 5 pairs of Hokas for $30 for all of them?
Dang, that's so awesome.
That's
and then
insane.
They sold each pair for $45 or more.
Okay, so
that is a good find.
You're already getting ahead of us, and that I appreciate. Share in the comments if you are finding wins on Facebook, because the reality is we are just one of thousands of resellers that are winning on Facebook Marketplace. So
someone else said, where do you find your shoe horns? Really quick, you can get them at IKEA or on Amazon. There's in some of our other YouTube videos, there's links to the shoe trees in the description of those videos.
We've also seen people selling bulk, like 2 or 3 pairs of shoe trees on Mercari.
Yeah.
There's so many different places you can find them. In the beginning, let's keep going to that. In the beginning, we would stuff the shoes with socks.
Yeah.
And then for a while, we used bubble wrap. So if you don't want to use socks or bubble wrap, you can buy shoe trees. All right.
Dang, that Hoka thing is sweet.
Yeah, that's a good find on the Hoka. So the biggest thing that helped us not only build momentum but really scale our business, our shoe reselling business on Facebook Marketplace, and it's gonna sound so obvious, but it's so overlooked and so crucial, is Lindsay and I realized in the very beginning that if we had to do 2 things. We had to eliminate as much friction as we possibly could, whether it was price point, whether it was where we met the buyers, things of that nature, and we wanted to build as many relationships as possible so that people would come back and keep buying from us, rather than putting in a lot of effort and only selling to people one at a time. So those of you that have been following us for any amount of time, you got something in your eyeball?
Yeah.
Let's get it out.
Like a eyelash in there.
Get it out. So we started with the shoes in our closet because we didn't have any money to go buy shoes. We sold each of those shoes for $25 a pair, and then we had a little bit of money, and then our buying budget was roughly $20 per week. And we then started going to thrifts, finding pairs under $10. We would come home, we would clean them up, and then we would list those pairs for $10 or for $25 a pair. So we would buy under $10 and sell for $25, and we repeated that process over and over and over 1,000 times. We did that.
Yeah.
Our buying budget was really little, so we would go. Maybe we'd find 2 pairs for $5 or 1 really good pair for $10, and we'd come home. We'd clean those pairs, whether it was 1 or 2. We'd post them up on Facebook Marketplace. Super, super important to make sure you take photos of every single angle. We didn't have any special lighting kit. We didn't have any special camera. We used the light that was coming in through our living room, and we put the shoes on our coffee table. We tried a bunch of different angles and all the things, but the key, we knew that if we showed all sides of the shoes, they could tell that they were in good condition after we cleaned them. We started building a little bit of momentum. Obviously we sold 1 pair here, 2 pairs here, went back to the thrift with 20 bucks, got a couple more pairs, and we repeated that process over and over. We then, this is actually my mistake, started adding into every single listing that we were going to deliver to you anywhere within 50 miles of where we lived. Again, in the beginning, we talked about the 2 things. We wanted to build relationships and we wanted to eliminate friction. And we realized that a lot of people were saying, if you can come to my town, I'll buy them, but I can't come to your town to pick them up, that things. So we said, all right, if you live within 50 miles, we'll come drop them off. We didn't really think through the logistics and the financials of the situation. That was my fault. But instead of going back on our word, we problem solved. This is what we talk about. You can leapfrog the mistakes that we have made. So instead of saying, oh, we're not going to deliver within 50 miles, we then realized we had a little bit more pairs, like 10 or 15, 20 pairs in our inventory. We said, if you buy multiple pairs, we'll give you an additional discount. So an example of that is all of our pairs were $25 a piece because we bought them under $10. If you buy 3 pairs of shoes for 75 bucks, we'll give you an extra pair for free. So that means you know, let's say at most we had $30 into the shoes, we were getting $75 back. Oh no, we'd have 40. But the idea is, instead of delivering one pair of shoes now, we started delivering multiple pairs to individual buyers.
They also were only costing us like $2 because we were
Yeah.
doing them all by the pound.
Yeah, we're trying to give you
Right
the...
now we do under 10.
The model was buy shoes under $10, and most thrifts, we can keep our average buy cost under 10. But if you have what's called the Goodwill bins anywhere near you, we have one that's about an hour away that we started going to because you can buy shoes for less than $2. It's by the pound. If you don't know what the bins are, in the comments below, say I'm not sure what the bins are.
So someone had asked, how many shoes should you have in your inventory? Kenny asked us, how many pairs of shoes should you have in your inventory to be able to successfully sell multiple pairs at a time?
Kenny, that's a really good question, and yeah.
No,
that's the reality. So whenever someone asks us this question, it's a really, really good question. It comes from a place where you're already thinking, you have the right mindset. You're like, okay, I have to get to a certain point in order to be this successful, and that's a good mindset to have. The problem with asking about quantity is there's different shoes out there, and they're new versus used, and there's different wear and tear. So we can't say 100 shoes will get you this amount of sales. So what it turns out, hey-oh, I think we just got Phoenix Flippers.
Are we still on?
Yeah. Thank you, Phoenix Flippers, for the super chat.
Just because you guys are the best. Thanks for everything.
That means a lot to us. Thanks so much. Our screen just went blank over here, so make sure you can, if you can see us, say we can see you loud and clear. Thank you, Phoenix Flippers, for the super chat. So I was saying, the quantity. So it's not about quantity, it's about quality. Let's use the example that we were talking about. Still can see it. Thank you, Shoebug. When we were going to the bins, just because they were inexpensive doesn't mean we were buying all of them. We were still, I mean, those of you that follow us know what I'm about to say. We were still making sure there was no rips or tears. We were still making sure original insoles. We were still making sure there was good tread. We were still making sure there was no significant stains. Although we were cleaning all of the shoes in the beginning, if there were deep stains that we couldn't get out, we were passing on those. We were still being super strict, but we were getting the shoes for inexpensive. So the stricter you are in sourcing, the quicker the shoes are going to sell and the quicker you're going to get to your goal. If you start slacking off on that strictness and just buying shoes, maybe they have a little bit of a rip, or maybe they don't have the original insoles, but you're going to try to sell them anyway, it's going to be a lot harder. And then, for example, you're going to have a lot more shoes that aren't selling as quick, and now you're in the storage business. And those of you guys that have been following us know that we're not in the business of storing shoes. We're in the business of selling shoes. So it's not a quantity, Kenny. We can't give you a quantity. Just got to be super strict. And that either means going to more high volume thrifts or going to the bins more often to see more inventory so that you can bring in more wins, or getting better at cleaning the shoes.
But also asking, like talking to your buyers ahead of time. Wait, hang on.
Hey-o! Thank you, Brian.
Thank you for all the help and advice and answering all my questions.
Appreciate you, Brian.
Yes.
Thank you.
Talking
to your buyers.
My brain is like, yeah. So asking, like, do you have anyone else in your family or in the neighborhood or whatever that's also looking for shoes? Do you have kids or whatever? And knowing ahead of time maybe what other sizes to bring will help a bunch, because we would generally bring a half size smaller, a half size bigger, more in that same size. But also if we knew, well, my husband's a size 11 or whatever, then we'd also throw some 11s in there. So you don't have to have a lot of shoes, but you need to kind of know what other stuff you should be bringing with you.
All right, so let's back it up. Let's pretend that you have not sold anything on Facebook Marketplace, or you haven't built enough momentum, or maybe you don't have the pairs in your inventory to bring options like we are talking about. If you're day one, what you want to do, let's pick a pair of shoes out of your closet, or maybe you have $5 or $10 extra that you can go to the thrift and you get your first pair. Exactly what Lindsay is saying is what you want to do with every single time you go to a delivery. But if it's your first one and you hand it to the person and you're selling them for 25 bucks as we're talking about, and they're like, man, this is great, thank you so much. It's super, super important on the first time, but then every time after that, say, hey, this is what I do.
Yeah.
I am a shoe reseller. I travel around and I go to thrifts and I go to retail locations. Or be honest with the people, let them know that you're a shoe reseller. In the future, if you're ever looking for a pair, let me know and I'll add it to my list. That's the next big tip that we want to talk about. Hey,
Roger.
Roger, thank you.
Thanks
so
for all your help from Chattanooga.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Yo, I was born in Tennessee. You got a little bit of my heart right there, Roger.
Tennessee.
I was born in Kingsport, my friend. Thank you so much.
The only 10 I see.
Oh. Getting a little corny on the live feed. So we were talking about, so it's super important to build that relationship. Now, they may never reach out to you ever again, but if they know that you're a shoe reseller, that's where the spider web starts to happen. You do that 5, 6, 10, 20, 1,000 times, you let people know, then all of a sudden, when you're going to do deliveries, they're saying, hey, my neighbors are coming over, my aunt and uncle are here, this is their sizes, these are the brands, and you can bring, which happened with us. Again, we're not talking theory, this is what happened with us. Instead of us going to deliver one pair for $25, we were filling the entire car. We actually, at that time, 3 years ago, had like a little Mazda, so we were filling the whole back with 20 or 25 pairs, and we were selling, and at one stop would turn into hundreds and hundreds of dollars in our pocket. But again, that's how we started to scale things up. But if you're making your first sale, it's super important to say, hey, this is what I do. I'm super excited to continue to do it. Let me know what you're looking for. And then, of course, it's as easy as just keeping a Google sheet. You know, John Smith or Jane Doe, this is the size they're looking for, this is the brand. And then here's what happens. If you actually do the due diligence and you create that list, going out and sourcing shoes is so much easier because now you got a list of stuff to look for that you already have buyers in your local area ready for. Now your job as a really good reseller is to go find those shoes in those sizes, in those brands at a price that makes sense to sell them for, let's continue to use the example, $25 a pair. That's how we did it for literally the first 1,000 pairs.
We also would be like, when we dropped off, let's say it was September or October or something, we live in Maine, and we were dropping off a pair of running shoes or whatever, it would be like, hey, just let you know, we also have winter boots. So if you're looking for any boots this winter, let us know. And so we kind of get them thinking, to think back and reach out to us when it was a different season and they needed like sandals or whatever.
And what you're starting to hear is this common theme of we're already thinking about how we can build a relationship and then sell to them again in the future. I mean, the reality in the footwear world is almost everybody on the planet almost owns a pair of shoes, and almost everyone owns multiple pairs of shoes. And when you're talking about Facebook Marketplace where there's no fees, you can provide a price point that you're making a profit, but it works for them as well. Hey yo, Kenny! Thank you so much for the $9.99 super chat, Kenny. Thank you. We appreciate that. I think we just saw a really good question coming about sizes.
What size do you sell the most?
Who is that?
Harold.
Harold, very, very good question. So when you have a smaller buying budget, let's say if you're like us in the beginning when we only had $20 a week, we realized that right around men's 10.5 through men's 13 was really good for men's, and then women's 7 through 9.5 was really good. But that's not to say that you should not source other pairs. Now, what we mean by that is, right now, if you don't have any money, or if you only have $10, what you might want to do is go on to, and this is the next part of the conversation, some of the local buy and sell marketplace, like buy and sell groups in your area, and look at some of the listings that are up for shoes already and see the conversations that are happening. Now, for whatever reason, I'm about to make this up, maybe you're in a community where there's lots of loggers. I just made that up randomly because there's like lots of woods in Maine. And for whatever reason, there's a lot of people selling loggers boots, or they're trying to look for, sometimes people will put what's called an ISO listing up. It means they're in search of, and they'll say, I'm in search of some men's 13 logging boots. You might see a trend in your community, or someone's like, hey, I've got 9 kids, I'm looking to buy shoes for all of them. You might see a small little trend in your community and say, you know what, there's lots of people looking for logging boots, there's lots of people looking for kids shoes, maybe you'll start there rather than the sizes that we just told you. But we can only give you that range, men's 10.5 through 13 and women's 7 through 9.5, because we have sold over 13,000 pairs of shoes present day. In the beginning, we had no idea. So kind of pull from both ends on that.
We also had a really good luck on Facebook Marketplace in the beginning with kids' shoes and being able to sell them as bundles. So as we usually talk about with a lot of kids' shoes, we sell mostly online, and so we'll only really focus on kids' shoes that have adult equivalents, so like Kyrie's or Jordan's or whatever it might be. But we would come across when we were going to Goodwill by the pound all these little shoes, and they would cost like 50 cents because they weighed nothing, like a couple ounces, and it was $1.29 a pound or whatever. So we're getting all these really, really inexpensive, good quality kids shoes. And so what we would do is we would bundle them up by size, and we'd do 3 pairs of, you know, toddler size 6 shoes and put them up for $25, and they went so fast because people cannot get inexpensive kids shoes. So it's a really good place to sell bundles of things or lots of clothes, but also you can look to buy lots like a grouping of items on there as well.
Yeah, one common thread that you're going to continue to hear as we do this live Q&A is one thing that allowed us to scale really, really quickly is we're always thinking, how can we as the reseller be valuable to the buyer? Now, of course, we've got a product, we've got a shoe, but more importantly, we're going to come to their hometown and meet in the grocery store. As Lindsay just described, we're going to, instead of, you know, selling you 1 pair of shoes, we're going to sell you multiple pairs of shoes so you don't have to go do all the shopping around. We're going to build a delivery schedule around your schedule. So if you work during the day, we're going to meet you first thing in the morning so you don't have to worry about it. The next part of our conversation, we want to talk to you about how to be safe on Facebook Marketplace, because that's super important. Putting yourself in, oh, I just saw it.
Sasha, I already have made 295 total sales this year, but wouldn't be nearly as close without the awesome OA tips you guys give. Thanks so much.
Sasha, congratulations
on
that's
sweet. 295, that's no joke.
The insane momentum. Yeah, that's the real deal. Congratulations, and thank you so much for the super chat. So we're talking about being valuable, eliminating the friction. These are things that are really important on Facebook Marketplace, and I think we've obviously we talk to hundreds of resellers every day, but when it comes specifically to Facebook Marketplace, people get discouraged. But then we look at their business model, and it's like, okay, you have to come to me when I'm free, and if not, then I'm not interested in making the sale. We looked at it a different way. We said, okay, we do have a product, obviously these shoes. Whether they're obviously in the first 1,000 pairs were all used, but we've cleaned the shoes. They're in great condition, and we're gonna come to you and to make it as easy as possible. What we've also realized, which will help you, is buying under $10 at the thrift and selling for $25. It eliminates a lot of the negotiation friction. $25 is a price point that most people can afford. You're still obviously going to have every once in a while people that try to lowball you. Hey, will you take 10 or will you take 15 or you take 20? But more often than not, you won't have that, and people either want the shoes or they don't. So that eliminates a lot of the negotiation friction.
Yeah, we never sold pairs for less than $25 unless they bought multiples. So every now and again, we would be like, well, no, but if you buy 2, we can do $40 or whatever, or buy 3, get a 4th free.
Yeah.
So always making sure we're getting back that $25 because we may be driving for 45 minutes to deliver this pair. So if we can, you know, get 2 for 40, that's way better than 1 for 20 or whatever.
Now again, we're only going to share you exactly what we did. You can modify it based on your experience. I mean, you might get slightly different results, but this has been proven. This is what worked for us. Most people would say it doesn't make sense for me to drive, you know, 25 miles away to meet them at their grocery store. But we realized the relationships that we were building. We would drive the 25 miles, we would meet them, they would be so pumped that they got a really nice pair of shoes for $25 that they would start telling all of their friends. So the next week we would go drive 25 miles and we would do 15 deliveries instead of doing 1. And you gotta understand that. Now, here's a little disclaimer. We ran into a lot of situations that it did not work out right because of things that we had did. Vetting out certain buyers and realizing red flags. You know, driving without, in the beginning we did not confirm the deliveries before making the drive. We just assumed if we've had a conversation that we're gonna meet you tomorrow at 10 a.m. at the post office or at the local police station or whatever, that it's gonna be good to go. Now we realized after doing so many deliveries and having so many people flake out on us that it's super, super important that you have a conversation, you set up the delivery. At the end of that first conversation, you say, you know what, we're supposed to meet tomorrow at 10 a.m. We're gonna message you tomorrow at 9 a.m. to confirm that everything is still on and nothing has changed in your schedule. If you don't confirm with us, we're not gonna come. And they say, hey, you know, thumbs up, or that makes sense. And then we would message them the next day, and they would not respond and we wouldn't go, or they'd say, yep, we're still good to go. And then all of a sudden there was like 1 flake in every 100. We get a lot of questions about people flaking out on you. So, is there any other questions?
There were some up here.
All right.
Oh, here we go. How much time on average do you spend cleaning thrifted shoes? It takes me about 15 to 20 minutes. Was wondering how much more efficient I can get.
Who is that?
Astro Drip Merch.
Astro, super dope name actually, Astro Drip Merch. So here's one thing based on your example. If you are sourcing shoes that take you 15 to 20 minutes to clean, there's a couple things that may be happening. Either you're too picky with your cleaning, or you're not picky enough with your sourcing. And what we mean by that is either the shoes are way too dirty to be picking up and you need to be stricter, or you're trying to clean them and pick every tiny little speck off of that. Now that's a good thing to be really diligent about your cleaning, but it doesn't make sense to put that much labor into every single pair to scale the business. In the beginning, it's okay. In the beginning, we didn't have any money, so all we had is sweat equity. So we were willing to go to the bins and buy pairs that might take a little bit longer, but then we realized in order to really build this thing up, we have to get stricter in our sourcing and maybe source pairs that don't take as long to clean. So a couple words of advice. Either get stricter with your sourcing, reevaluate your cleaning strategy, or get better at cleaning. For example, here's one way you can get better at cleaning. The idea of when we first started, Walmart foam shoe cleaner is this spray can. It sprays foam on it. Then you use the top of the can, which is like an orange scrubby, and you go like this. So basically, if we could replicate this motion with that scrubby, we'd be able to clean faster. So we had a drill. We found an inexpensive brush drill head, and then we would just pull the trigger on the drill and it would spin really fast and it would replicate that motion. So right there is one example how you can get better and more efficient at your cleaning.
Yeah, we are able to clean, we average out to about between 4 and 5 minutes per pair. Some pairs it's like 20 seconds because it's pulling a sticker off. And some pairs, you know, you have to magic erase the tread or whatever, but usually we can do about 75 to 100 pairs in a 6-hour block of time.
And what's super important is because we have literally cleaned thousands and thousands and thousands of shoes, as we started to build our team, we have one additional person on our team, we taught them how to clean shoes like we did. So it wasn't like they had to go through all the struggle that we did in learning that. Hey, we got a super chat.
Planet Space, $10.
Thank you so much, Planet Space. We really do appreciate that. We appreciate you, all of you.
Yeah, 77 people.
And again, because we had passed on everything that we had learned, and now our team grew, and we were more valuable to our buyer base, which means now there's 3 of us that could clean, which means we could bring in more inventory. Or one of us could be cleaning, one of us could be photographing, and one of us could be listing. So that's how our business can grow a little bit bigger. So let's back up again. We've sold our first couple pairs. We start realizing that if we offer deals on multiple pairs, we can bring in more money. There's only a certain amount of time per day. There's only a certain amount of deliveries that we could do per day. And that was really cool. But then we hit a ceiling. And we realized that it was hard for us to be like trying to photograph and list and buy and do all these things and talk to people and negotiate. I mean, we don't even own a computer. We since day one have run our entire business from our iPhone 7s. This one right here is recording. This one is touching base with all of you. And so we thought, how can we really scale this thing? At that point, everything we've described was paying all of our bills. But we wanted to grow and we wanted to start putting money away in savings. Here is something that you guys are we're gonna describe to you, and you're gonna be like, this is insane, there's no way. But you can do this. You can absolutely do this. This is what we did to shoot our Facebook Marketplace local meetup delivery business to the moon. We reached out to people that have purchased shoes from us, and we said, we've got an opportunity where you can help us sell shoes and you can actually make money. You don't have to do any deliveries, you don't have to buy any shoes, you don't have to do any cleaning, you don't have to take any photos. Are you interested? And the people are like, yeah, of course. And then we'd say, this is what we're gonna do. Every morning, we're actually gonna send you photos of all angles, photos of a pair of shoes. what we want you to do is post those shoes in your local Facebook groups. We're going to talk about Facebook Marketplace groups, which is different than Facebook Marketplace. All you got to do is post them up, talk to people, and when they are interested in purchasing them, you message us and tell us where to deliver them. You're going to get, we still sold them for $25. You're going to get a piece of that sale. We're going to hand deliver them ourselves, and then as soon as we hand deliver them and we're leaving the local grocery store or wherever we met them, we're actually going to Cash App you or PayPal or Venmo you a piece of that sale. It was usually $5 from that sale. And they were like, all I got to do is talk to them. So we built this up to where there was more than 20 to 25 people posting shoes in their local area. Now we live in Maine, so now, and there's dozens and dozens of buy and sell groups. So now in the morning we would, usually it was like 5 pairs we would do.
Yeah, maybe 10.
So between 5 and 10 pairs, we would send the group all of those photos. Now let's use one pair. That one pair was now spiderwebbed to every single buy and sell group in Maine.
Did you talk about why we did that? Because of the limit on listings?
Oh, yeah.
So to save time, to let us focus on the sourcing and cleaning and photographing and stuff. And delivering everything besides the listing, basically. Another reason we needed to do that was because a lot of buy and sell groups will only let you, or at least they did 3 years ago, only let you put up a certain amount of listings per day in order to not kind of like flood that marketplace. And you could only list on or share to like 5 groups at a time.
Yeah.
So with each pair, we would have to either list it multiple times or only be able to share it to a certain amount of groups and only do 5 listings a day. So we scooted around that by being like, wait, we could have 10 different people list the same pair, so then it's technically getting listed to 50 groups as opposed to just the 5. So we were able to expand our reach and make sure it was getting into every group in southern Maine.
So the business model was we would buy shoes for under $10, we would sell them for $25, and then $5 would go to the person who set up the delivery. We would do the delivery, so we were basically doubling our money, but inventory was going so quickly.
Yeah.
Then it grew so quickly, we had to actually hire someone to be our scheduler. And what that meant was instead of you had 20 people, blasting out the shoes every single morning, then we had one individual that they would all message. And that person would get a little piece of the pie as well. They usually make like $1 per pair. So everyone got to sit at home. They got to just list from their phone. And then the scheduler would sit at home, and we had a Google Sheet, and they would just plug in all the deliveries. Now, that scheduler was super smart and intelligent, and she was awesome, and she would set up deliveries in local areas, so like it wouldn't be random. We'd have a bunch of deliveries in this city all at once. So like we'd have 10 deliveries at this grocery store in this city in Maine, and then boom. And then it would be super efficient, and then we'd show up at that grocery store, and like all the cars would show up, they would all buy the shoes, we'd be in and out in like 15 minutes. This is doable, you guys. Now, we're not saying you have to scale it to this much, but now we're saying there's no excuses. You do have family and friends that sit at home. I'm not saying they sit at home or they're lazy, but they have enough time to post pictures and we would give them the description, we would give them the photos. All they had to do is post and wait for people to message them. When they message them, we'd say, yep, we have people that are going to be delivering them. And then we would go and do the deliveries. It was important for us because face-to-face, it was important for us. We were super safe when we did it. We would never ask someone to put themselves in a place they were uncomfortable with. There was always 2 of us. And then we would handle all the money. We would handle everything. It worked out so well. There was a point where people were making $500, $600, $700, $800 being on our team. This is like, it's doable. You can do this in your local area. Any questions coming in?
People are asking like how much we paid them. Yeah, it was usually $5, and we usually did like a bonus system depending on how many you set up each day or how quickly the pair sold. So if like we had a week where it was like, all right, we sent out 30 pairs on a Sunday, and if you set up a delivery for a pair the next day, you got $8. Then if it took till Tuesday, you got $7. If it took till Wednesday, you got $6. In order to try to get them to sell faster and faster. But it was never less than $5 per pair. Someone said, oh, Phoenix Clipper said, I have my 14-year-old cleaning shoes, my 17-year-old taking photos, and I do the listing.
Awesome.
They earn some money and it's work that I don't have to do. That is so dope.
Love that. Love that teamwork.
That's sweet.
And it's teaching them some really, really important things that can be applied in so many different areas. That's a super good idea. Guys, if you haven't yet, make sure you hit that like button. It helps us get this video out a little bit more. And if you have specific questions, now is the time to get super, super narrow with your questions. If there's a certain situation, if there's something that you're confused about. We want to talk a little bit about how important it is to list, when you're listing on Facebook Marketplace, to be listing in multiple groups.
This is good. So these two questions kind of, so Callie Dawn and You Trace Beats. Callie Dawn asked, are you using the free shipping option on Facebook Marketplace? And then You Trace Beats said, do you guys only use Facebook Marketplace for local sales?
Yeah, so this whole live Q&A, we're only going to talk about local deliveries for a couple reasons. That's what all we've done, and we don't have the ability to ship on Facebook Marketplace. People are going to say, what? That's not fair. It's true. We do not have the option. We have sold a lot of shoes on Facebook Marketplace, and we do not have the option to ship on Facebook Marketplace. You're not going to hear us complaining. Yes, it would be easier to have that option. Yes, we have seen other resellers that have it, and it's working well. But we want to talk only about what we do. We don't have it because we ran into a situation where some other people,
like Under Armour's, and they got flagged as.
One thing that's different about Facebook compared to other marketplaces is it's constantly evolving. There was a point in time, again, it wasn't all like amazing, everything's working. Like, we've run into a lot of situations. I was kicked off Facebook for like 7 days because before we realized that there was limits, I literally would try to like post like 50 pairs of shoes in all these groups, and then instead of like messaging and saying, hey, you can't do that, you're breaking the rules, they would just give me a 7-day ban. We also ran into a situation where people in our local community would flag our listing saying something was wrong because we were selling a ton of shoes, and they were like, no, they wanted to sell shoes for more expensive, and we were like, everything is $25. And that's okay. It's completely okay. Moderators would reach out to us and say, listen, you guys aren't doing anything wrong, but rather than respond to 25 people that are flagging your account, we're just going to delete your listing. Feel free to post again if you want. We could have sat there and say, this isn't fair, this isn't fair, this isn't fair. We just kept solving problems that were coming at us, and I think that's super important. You always got to be there's always going to be something. The biggest thing going on right now is the pandemic that's going on in the world. It's not an excuse. There's always a way to solve problems. Now, of course, with social distancing and all that, like maybe it doesn't make sense. Maybe you drop off at the you're a couple parking spaces away, and you leave it in the middle park. You don't have to like be within 6 feet of people, but as full-time resellers, you always have to be solving problems. And I promise you, we have seen every situation possible. We have driven 49 miles to deliver a $25 pair of shoes, and we showed up and the person had no money.
And we had jumped their car.
And their car was broken, and they wanted us to fix their car. They literally just wanted us to come.
And it was pouring rain.
It was pouring rain. I think we actually have a video of that.
I have a video of you standing in the rain, jumping someone's car.
And instead of getting pissed off, instead of saying, woe is us, we helped them jump their car, and we said, when you have money, reach out to us. And then we made a little note, like, probably won't believe what this person is saying.
That's a good thing, too. So, as well as having a list of buyers that are interested in specific things, specific sizes, specific brands, specific pairs, whatever, we would keep an Excel sheet of it or a Google sheet of it. We also had kind of like a blacklist where if it was a no-show, or if we got, like, we have a podcast about how we showed up and the guy like took one shoe or threw it to his son and refused to pay what we came there for. Little things that we were like, oh, I don't like, this wasn't really worth it. We need to remember this buyer isn't someone that we feel comfortable selling to again. We would just keep note of that, so that no matter what, we could reference that and be like, oh, last time we drove 49 miles and had to jump your car. We'll probably rethink setting up a delivery unless you want to come the 49 miles here to ensure that we're not, spending 2 hours for nothing.
Yeah. Harold, really good question. You said, do you guys have other ways to sell locally besides Facebook Marketplace on other apps? Yeah, there's tons of them out there. This live Q&A, we want to focus on Facebook Marketplace, but there's things like OfferUp. We've had a lot of success on there. We don't use it anymore. Let Go, we've sold a ton of shoes on Let Go, very similar. We don't use that anymore. There's tons of different marketplaces.
Friends and family.
You can win on all of them. Astro Drip, do you guys shoot for higher ROI for used shoes versus new with tags? The reality is we're always trying to improve. We're pulling from both ends. We're always trying to improve our profit per pair while moving inventory quickly. And the only way to do that is to respect the market value. Because obviously, if we could all buy shoes for $10 and sell them for $200, we'd all be doing that. But it doesn't make sense based on how the market is and what the shoes are actually worth. So we're constantly evaluating, are we selling these shoes at a price that makes sense for our profit margin, but it also makes sense for the buyer that they feel good about it, so they'll come back and buy more pairs. Good question.
It was pretty similar though. We pretty much triple our money on every single pair, new or used. We never less than double our pair on double our money on either new or used.
Yeah, really good questions. CK Robinson, how did you handle dupes? And I think you mean duplicates where multiple buyers wanted the same shoe. Really, really good question, CK Robinson. This is where you are in the driver's seat as the seller. If you have multiple people reaching out to you, first person to set up a delivery, the soonest. Two things we're about to say. As a shoe reseller on Facebook Marketplace, we do not set up a delivery more than 24 hours away. Yeah. You're gonna get a lot of people that say, I get paid on Friday, it's Monday, I get paid, well today's Tuesday, but today's Tuesday, I get paid on Friday, I'll buy them, save them for me. Sorry, we don't offer, this is what we would say, and this, we suggest you say, we don't offer holds, but as soon as you're ready to purchase, if they are still available, we'll set up a delivery and we'll meet you where it's convenient, in a safe place, local post office, local police station, local grocery store. And then sometimes people say, all right, can you meet right now? Or you prevent the flake. That person that's saying, can you save them till Friday, or can you save them till the 1st, or can you save them, blah, 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 is saying that to 10 or 15 other people.
Yeah.
And they're only gonna buy one pair of shoes. They're not respecting your business. It may be true, they may not have the money now, that's okay, but you're a reseller. Your job is to resell stuff, and you wanna resell it right now. There's going to be buyers that are willing to set up a delivery within 24 hours. Now, if you've got multiple people, it's even better. You can say, listen, there's literally 7 people that have messaged me about these. I'm responding to you, and I'm gonna go down the list. First person to set up a delivery within 24 hours is gonna get them. And then even better, if they're trying to negotiate price, you can say the other people are willing to pay the full price. And then people will be like, all right, I'll pay full price, can you meet me in an hour? Or they're a flake and you save some time.
And then keep track of them, because if for some reason you show up to do that delivery and you've brought other options and maybe the person ends up picking a different pair, then you can reach out to one of those other people, whoever was kind of next on your list, and be like, hey, they went with a different pair, now I can set it up with you, or if you get that pair again, or something similar.
And it keeps that inventory moving quick. Hey yo, Darren Russell, thank you so much. It means the world to us. He said, thank you guys for all you do. We're happy to share what works for us.
It's fun.
Those of you guys that know, like, there's enough inventory, there's enough marketplaces for all of us to get our piece of the pie. And the reality is a lot of people won't put in the work that all of you might do, that all of you are willing to do if you want to make yourself a full-time living reselling shoes.
You did give me the loud chair.
Oh, I gave you the squeaker.
Squeaky chair.
Mr. Jam, no, we do not do Amazon FBA. We do not use Amazon or eBay. Phoenix Flippers just sold a pair of shoes. Congratulations on the win. If you guys have questions specific about Facebook Marketplace, local meetups, that's what we're doing right now.
Oh, let's talk about this, because someone messaged us this morning that they were really kind of nervous about the delivery, because they were nervous they were going to get robbed. So I think we should talk about...
It's a really good point, yeah.
Safety in regards to... local meetups.
Yeah.
So one, because of the pandemic that's going on, you obviously want to wear a mask, respect that, hand sanitizer, all that, stay 6 feet apart, all of that, right? The other thing is safety in regards to like violence or theft or anything like that. And a super easy go-to solution is to meet at a police station. So that's going to do 2 things. One, it's going to hopefully keep you safe because you're going to be surrounded by police. surrounded by cameras. They actually, most police stations now have specific internet sales parking spots that you can use to do your transaction. And two, it's going to deter a lot of sketchy people from actually coming. So if the person does have ulterior motives, and you say, let's meet at the police station, they're probably going to be like, never mind.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is the top places that we meet are, like Lindsay said, the police station, the grocery store, banks, the post office, places where there's going to be other people, you know, there, and there's cameras. I mean, you want to set yourself up for success, and as Lindsay said, that eliminates a lot of the people who are not, they don't have the, they're trying to take advantage of you. We do not go to people's houses.
Right.
We definitely do not invite them to come to our house. No excuses. No excuses.
When it's light out, we don't meet, you know, at midnight or anything crazy.
Yeah.
We always go together, but you can definitely do this alone, but just make sure you're picking a place that is highly populated, so you're not, you know, by yourself. If
you are getting an uneasy feeling about the individual you're talking with, it's probably a good thing to not do that delivery. Again, it's not worth it to meet up with someone. Now, there's a difference between, oh my gosh, I'm getting a little anxious, like this is my first delivery, and this man or woman is creeping me out.
Right.
If they're creeping us out, bye. On to the next buyer. Don't even care. You have no obligation to sell to someone that you do not want to.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. Keep yourself super safe. Use common sense.
Don't carry a bunch of money on you.
For example, actually our last delivery, it ended up going really, really well. The individual reached out. I think it was early evening. We had put a posting up, and they said, "Hey, can you come meet me now?" And we were like, "Nah," because it was dark.
Yeah, it was like 8:30 or 9 o'clock.
It was like 8:30 or 9, and it's not an uncommon question, but we set the bar, and we're like, "No, we can meet you tomorrow morning." They said, "Okay, I really want him now, but I guess tomorrow morning." We said, "All right, we're gonna confirm with you first thing in the morning." We confirmed. They said yes. We met up with them. Super, super nice individual. The sale went really, really great. Set your standards, and what that does is it helps eliminate the emotions that come from it. If you get away from your game plan, you start getting into uneasy because you want to get the sale, and I know I said I wasn't gonna meet when it's dark, but I like want the sale, and what if they tell me they don't want to meet tomorrow? Keep an even keel. Keep yourself safe, and what happens is you're gonna just fill your queue with really good relationships with buyers that will pay the price that you have them listed for over and over and over and over again. Period. Yeah, Phoenix Flippers is saying, I did a house delivery once, but I knew the people from church. Phoenix Flippers, that's okay, but here's what we want to say. Actually, that's not okay, because here's what's going to happen. It may have worked out, you may have known them from church, but now you have lessened your personal bar. They are going to tell their friends, hey, they came to my house, it was really, really great, you know, because I knew them from church. But now you're going into the realm where friends of friends of friends are saying, well, you went to their house, why don't you come to my house? Set the bar. I'm meeting you at the police station. I'm meeting you at the post office. Again, there's so many different ways to do it. We're not telling you what you did is wrong. Just think through that scenario if you want to build a word of mouth. You don't want to change your business model for certain individuals. Now, of course, for immediate family members, we're not telling, you don't have to meet your brother or sister at the police station. That'd actually be pretty funny. Or you don't have to meet, you know, your mom or dad if they want to buy a pair of shoes from you at the post office. But think through the scenario, set the bar. Because we set the bar, people would tell their friends, hey, it's super easy. Meet them when you're going to do your grocery shopping. They'll meet you right at the local grocery store. It made things so much smoother and easier.
Or we would do our grocery shopping at the
same
time. Yeah,
that's a good point. I do tame. Oh, so here's what I want to talk about. It's super important. There's when you're listing on Facebook Marketplace, all the basics are true. You should have photos of every single angle. You don't need a expensive camera, expensive lighting kit. We used the light that was coming in through the window, shoes on the coffee table. A thorough description will help you eliminate the friction. Try to answer as many questions that people may have before they ask them. Repeat the size, repeat the color of the shoes. This is one thing we've noticed. Sometimes people have the dimmer on their phones when they're looking through Facebook Marketplace, so a color may look different. That's why you repeat it in the description. Repeat the size in the description. Sometimes people don't even look at the description and they'll just message you and say, you know, what size is this? And you're like, what do you, come on, like it's in the description. But it'll eliminate a lot of the friction if you answer as many questions as you think people will have.
Whoa.
As you think people will have before they ask it, it will eliminate a lot of the friction. In talking with people, try to eliminate the friction. Hey, is this still available? For example, there's a button on Facebook, they still have it, right? Where you can click, is this item still available?
Oh, yeah.
You probably get that a lot. Instead of us saying yes, we'll respond with, yes, it's still available. We're meeting people you know, at the local grocery store within the next 24 hours. Do you want to set up a time?
Yeah, it saves a ton of back and forth.
And then they'll say, oops, I hit the button I didn't mean to. Or they'll say, actually, that works out great. Does this time work? Or they'll say, I can't meet at that grocery store, but can you meet at this grocery store? We set all of that stuff in our one response rather than saying yes, and then they get distracted and they don't respond. And so try to...
cool.
Yeah, or cool, or whatever. Try to eliminate all the friction that you possibly can. Now, when you're doing your listing and you go to hit list, before you get to that point, what you want to do is search through your local area. And it's changed recently, but on Facebook Marketplace, you can see all the buy and sell groups. So we live in Portland, Maine. Around Portland, Maine, there's all these different, there's like 3 or 4 in Portland. It'll be like Portland buy and sell, or it'll say Greater Portland buy and sell. And then it'll say like South Portland buy and sell, or Freeport buy and sell. These are Yarmouth buy and sell, all towns around Portland. You want to, within, I would say probably 20 miles of where you live, you want to hit join. And you want to join all of those groups. Now, each of those groups have a different amount of people. And some are in all of those groups, some are only in those groups. And it's super, super important to join as many groups as you possibly can. As Lindsay said earlier, when we were listing in the beginning, and you go to hit list, it would say you can list in 5 groups. Pick which groups you want to list in. Now you guys have it even better. You can list up to 20 groups with one listing.
If we had been able to do that back then,
we would have been doing crazy numbers if with one click of a button we could list with 20, and that's what you can do present day. Someone said I've sitting on these 2 shoes. Okay, so NLU Dante, I've literally been sitting on these 2 shoes for weeks, starting to give up. There's a couple things that you can do if you've been sitting on shoes for 2 weeks and it's not working. You want to maybe take better photos and relist. You maybe want to reevaluate how much you have the shoes listed for. You may want to look at joining other buy and sell groups. Sometimes there's shoe related buy and sell groups. There's so many things you can do if shoes have not sold in 2 weeks. And most of the time it's because you have either a poor listing, we'll be honest. You haven't been super descriptive, you haven't taken good photos, or the price is too high.
look at this.
Heyo! Jerome Imus. You guys always dropping pure knowledge. Thank you. Question: do you use any electronic pay like PayPal, Venmo, at Facebook Marketplace, or cash only? Thank you so much for the super chat and all of the above. Again, you're gonna hear that we keep repeating this. We want to eliminate as much friction as possible. Some people aren't comfortable, especially present day, with all the pandemic stuff, and they don't want to handle cash. Yes, we take Cash App. Yes, we take Venmo.
We have like a little card swiper that goes in our iPad.
Yeah, or plugs right into the phone.
Well, they don't have the headphone jacks
Oh,
anymore,
yeah.
so it goes in the iPad and it swipes. They swipe their card and it goes right to PayPal.
Yeah. So the answer is whatever you're comfortable with, and the more options you have, there's less of a reason for a customer to say no. There's also a less of a reason that people can. This is another big point. I'm glad that we're going to get through this, and this is why we appreciate live Q&As more than just creating a video, because as we're doing this and as you guys are asking questions, things pop up. It's important for us and leapfrog our mistakes to agree on a price before we go and meet the individual, because sometimes you'll have people where if you haven't agreed on a price, they'll show up and be like, oh, you wanted 25, I'll give you 15 right now for it. We always agree on a price before we get there, and we stick to our guns.
Yeah.
We stick to our guns. It's okay. We get it. Everyone's trying to get a deal. We show up and the person's like, actually, I only have 20 bucks. And we say, all right, good luck. We have 5 people waiting in line for these pair of shoes that are going to pay 25. We'll go deliver to them. And they say, oh, okay, I'll give you 25. If you're not comfortable with that, bring someone that is comfortable, or just don't go. Maybe try, hey, I'm going to meet you Most people aren't, I was going to say Cash App the money before, but you can Cash App the money when you're there, Venmo, all that things. There's lots of ways
super easy because they can like scan your thing. Also bring like $15 change, because let's say the shoes cost $25 and they bring two 20s with them, maybe the hope that won't have change. They're like, well, how about just 20 then, because you can't give me my $15 or whatever. Just bring $15. Don't bring a ton of money, but definitely having $15 in your back pocket, or whatever amount of money allows you with the purchase price of the shoes to make change for whatever bills they have. So if the pairs are like if the pair's like 75, maybe bring $25. So in case they have 100 or have $80 or whatever, you can. There's no excuse to get less money just because you don't have change.
Yeah. So again, we want to keep organizing all this information so it's not so scattered. You want to take photos of every angle when you're listing on Facebook Marketplace. You want to write a thorough description, repeating things over, the size, the color, of course the brand. You want to be super safe when you're setting up deliveries. When you are actually listing, you want to list on Facebook Marketplace, which is like all over the United States, but you also want to list in at least 20 groups. And you might say, there's not 20 groups in my area. Yes, there is 20 groups in your area. You don't have to join shoe-specific groups. You want to join buy and sell groups in your area. You want to stay away from, this will help, for example, if the title is Portland Electronics Buy and Sell, you obviously don't want to join that group if you're only selling shoes. Great point. I showed up. This is Phoenix Flippers to one without change, and unfortunately it was only $5 difference, and the buyer just gave me $5 more than what we agreed to after seeing. So that's Phoenix Flippers, that's good. You had a really nice buyer. You just brought up a really important thing that helped us so much. Once we built momentum and we were doing deliveries all over the place on Facebook, people were telling their friends, we were showing up to neighborhoods, we were selling a lot of stuff. People would try to give us a tip. The shoes were only $25. Here's two things we're about to say. In the beginning, you may be able to sell the shoes for more, but if you've bought them under $10, to build a relationship, sell those Jordans for $25. Sell those really nice pair of Nikes for $25, because that person's coming back to you when they're ready to buy again. They're definitely telling their friends and family. They're definitely recommending you. Word of mouth in any business is the best kind of marketing. So you may be able to get 30, 40, or 50, but if you're like, I got them under 10, I cleaned them up real nice, someone's going to be super happy. Here's what happens. The people show up and they're like, oh my gosh, these are as good as the pictures look. Can I give you a $5 tip? Can I give you a $10 tip? We would always say no. We would say, keep the money, but tell your friends. Then we started doing things like, we had a business card. Then we created a Facebook page that wasn't for selling. It was just documentation that we were a couple in Maine delivering shoes all over the place. And it was a business page. Again, we didn't use that page to sell. We used that page to document. People could rate us. Then all of a sudden, all these 5-star reviews started coming into our Facebook business page. It was called Rinzy. I think actually it was called My 25 Footwear in the beginning, but then it turned into Rinzy. And then we had over 100 5-star reviews. So someone who was new into the ecosystem would be like, man, I've literally been hearing about this couple that's driving all over Maine delivering shoes, and they're called Rinzy, and they would go to our Facebook page and be like, holy smokes, my uncle bought a pair of shoes and left him a 5-star. My sister bought a pair of shoes and left him a 5-star. Then we would use our personal accounts to post on Facebook Marketplace and do all these things. Then the word of mouth was insane. We actually had businesses reaching out to us, and they're like, hey, can we sponsor you guys? We're like, no, but tell your whole staff that we have a pair of shoes when they are ready to purchase. What do we got? Do you guys cross-post on FB and OfferUp? So that's the next part of the conversation, 01ZM. That's a really good point. Yes, if you want to grow your business, we did start, after the first 1,000 pairs we've sold, we had $25,000 that had come in because we were selling each pair for $25. We started cross-posting, but here's something super, super important. Oh, that's cool that order just finished on Ricari. Just got a notification that start with Facebook Marketplace, get real good, become a pro at one thing. And right now we're talking about Facebook Marketplace local meetups. Once you become a pro and you have all these efficient systems, then try adding LetGo or OfferUp or an online marketplace like Poshmark or Mercari. Do not start off the bat, or do not try to build your business selling on 5 marketplaces in the beginning. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be super discouraging because you can't become a pro at all these marketplaces at once. It's going to be very, very difficult, and your business is going to be very poorly run, meaning documented, right? Mm-hmm. It's been our experience. Facebook Marketplace, and then we gradually grew into other stuff, and then we gradually grew into online where we were shipping, and we were doing a little bit of deliveries and a little bit of shipping and all those things. It's super, we see it, people do it all the time. They think that if they don't sell something within a week here, they should list it over here and here and here and here and here, and then they get 5 pairs and they here, but then they forget to take it off this marketplace, and they forget, and then they get discouraged because people are messaging them saying, I want these shoes, and they've already sold them. Get really, really good. You can. We're telling you right now, we've proven you can build a full-time income only selling and delivering locally on Facebook Marketplace. There's no excuses. We're showing you exactly how to do it. Here, I'm gonna give you the driver's seat back in there. The bottom couple. If you guys have questions, put them in the comments below.
Fernanda said, I started selling on Facebook Marketplace after so much doubt about 2 weeks ago. I already have repeat buyers. That's sweet.
Who's that?
Fernanda,
super important. This is how you're gonna skyrocket. Pour into those people that have been purchasing. It sounds like you already are, but say, hey, listen, let me know what brands you're looking for, what size you're looking for. It seems crazy, and then you just use the free Google Sheets app, and you say, this person's looking for this, and then when you go out to the thrift, you know what to look for. You know they're looking for this New Balance in size 12. They're looking for Nikes in size 8, and you know exactly what to shop for, and then of course you add in extra stuff that has good comps.
Someone asked...
Guys, as you are watching, please smash that like button. We really do appreciate it. 86, 87 of you. It means the world to us to share exactly what is working for us.
Hunter said, do you have unskippable ads on your marketplace to the point where you have to close the app and reopen it?
So the only thing that's popped up that I can think of was on Letgo. There was a lot of ads that had popped up on Facebook Marketplace.
Like
there's sections, right? So as you're scrolling down, there's like sections of ads, and then you go to the next section, and it's like, oh, these are all home goods, and then here's some more community stuff. Everything that you are seeing on Facebook has evolved over time, and it will continue to evolve. For example, there was a lot of time where we couldn't even put the brand title in our listings because it wouldn't let us list it. So we took the brand title out. There was a long time, and then now we can put the brand title in. Things are changing all the time. What may work for you may not work for us, and vice versa. There was a long time where we couldn't sell new shoes on Facebook Marketplace, and we're not sure exactly what it is, but as always, we're always solving problems and moving and making pivots, and whatever works, we're gonna do more of that until it doesn't work, and then we're gonna make a small pivot and things of that nature.
How do you think you say that? Jelena
Milinkovic.
What if a person, this is a good question because we have this all the time. What if a person asks if you have another size in the shoe that you list but you don't? Do you send them options that you do have in inventory in their size instead and send pictures? I just had this happen.
Really, really good question. And again, your mindset is in the exact place it should be. You want to respond. Your question comes from a place like, how can I provide value to that person if I don't have the exact shoes that they're looking for? So you already know the answer to your question. Yes, you say, hey, I don't have that, but here is something similar to have, or more importantly, to respect their time and attention rather than blasting them with a bunch of pictures. Say, you know, I don't have this shoe in your size. Would you be interested in seeing other brands in your size that I have available? And give them the option to say either yes or no, I'm gonna wait until you have this shoe. Again, leapfrog our mistakes. My mistake is I don't have that, but here's 14 pictures of other pairs that I have, and they're like, no, dude, I'm not interested in that. So you gotta weigh it out based on how the conversation is going, but you are in the right place mindset wise where you're gonna be very successful on Facebook Marketplace. You already are thinking, how can I provide value to this individual if I don't have exactly what they have? Now make a note that individual is looking for this exact shoe in this size, so you can reach out when you get it again in the future.
So Tan Superman said, does it show all my friends automatically whenever I post on Marketplace? I believe it only shows them if you share to a buy and sell group that they follow or are a part of. Like when Ryan posts in Southern Maine Classifieds or whatever it might be, I'll get a notification that Ryan just posted in Southern Maine Classifieds, but not if he just posts on Marketplace, and not if he posts in a group that I am not a part of.
Yeah. So it's not, I think the question comes from a place where you're either pumped and you want all your friends to see what you're posting, or you might not be pumped and you don't want to bombard your friends. And so as Lindsay explained, that solves that problem. They have to be in, and if they're in the buy and sell group, it means they're interested in either buying or selling. And I think Facebook's really good about doing that. Again, if they're in the group, then they're interested in buying. They wouldn't be in the group if they're not. And I think you might be able to modify, or you can obviously get out of groups if you're not interested in those types of notifications. Someone just said something about shape-ups.
Bought Skechers shape-ups and have listed for months and nothing.
So that's interesting. Again, it's the same person before. You either have them listed too high, you either need to reevaluate your listing. Again, we're gonna give you brutal honesty. It's either the pricing is wrong or your listing is poor, because we sell a ton of shape-ups. Period. And I promise you, there's people in your area that are interested in buying shape-ups. It's a very, very common shoe that a lot of people buy. Or maybe your shape-ups are not in as good a condition as you think they are. You always have to be thinking from the other person's standpoint. Maybe you didn't clean them well enough. Maybe they're dirtier than you think. Maybe there's not as good tread as you think. You got to be honest. The market, here's the reality. The market is telling you they're not interested in your listing. And there's a reason for it. It's either not in as good condition as you think, your listing is poor, or your price is wrong. Bottom line.
Yeah.
That's brutal honesty, that if you make tweaks anywhere in that, you will sell those shape-ups.
Ooh, good question from Callie Dawn. So you may have already answered it, but I missed it. But do the customers try on the shoes at the meetup, or just look and hand off and pay? Good question. So
again, eliminating all the friction, we never would have any returns. You know, once you have the shoes, you can't return them, that type of thing. We would, because we had that policy, we would let them try. We would bring a small mat.
Used pairs.
For used pairs. And we would say, you know, yeah, make sure you try them on. Obviously, we don't want people trying them on and like dragging their feet along the ground, which is why we would bring the mat. It was a 2.5 by 2.5.
Those puzzle piece
Yeah.
foam, they're big squares. And
Size of a couch cushion.
Yeah, we'd bring a couple of those.
And you're not going to be running around in these things. Like, try them on, make sure they fit, and they are yours. Here is where you overcome a lot of that, by showing pictures of all angles. Before you even get to the delivery, the people know exactly what they're buying. We never use filters. We always take well-lit photos. You can see the tread. When you get them in person, they're like, oh, this is exactly what I thought they were. Let me just put them on real quick to make sure they fit. Boom, they fit. I think literally over 1,000 pairs sold. There was one, I can remember her, one lady that tried on the shoes and was like, this doesn't fit. Now, we didn't freak out. We drove, we met her. We went into customer service mode and we said, oh, unfortunately it didn't. She thought she was the size, she wasn't. Actually, now there's 2 times I can remember. We said, all right, well, what size do you think you are? We'll make a note of it. Instead of a women's 8, she was a women's 8.5 or 9. And we said, well, if we come across these in the future in that size, we'll let you know. Now,
we did start bringing other sizes up and down.
That's how you eliminate that. As Lindsay had mentioned before, we're gonna bring options in the same brand, half a size down, half a size up, and we always had those options. So if the exact pair didn't fit, we always had, there was no forcing them to buy, but there was too many reasons to buy for them to leave without the sale. What we got? There really, really is no excuses when it comes to Facebook Marketplace. The market cannot be flooded. Whether you live in a big city, a small town, we've done it all. We've literally done it all. We actually got challenged once about 2 years ago. People that friends that we had in Vermont said, this may work in Maine, this doesn't work in Vermont. And we said, okay, we're coming to Vermont. We're going to start from 0. Ironically, it actually worked out perfectly. We had other friends that were asking if anyone could house sit for them. So we said, all right, we'll house sit for you. We're going to come to Vermont for a month. We started at 0. There was only 1 or 2 thrifts in the area, and we built up a full-time business. Within a month, we had sold over 100 pairs. We had built up a ton of relationships. We had done over 100 deliveries in 30 days. In an area from ground zero.
Yeah.
It is doable where you are. whether you live in a town of 100 people or whether you live in a big city, it's different, of course, but it's very, very doable.
Do you still buy at stores like Ross and Marshall's?
Yeah, this live Q&A is, we don't shop at Ross because there's not a Ross location within 8 hours of us, but generally speaking, we get all of our shoes from high volume thrifts like Goodwill, Salvation Army, and Savers. We also do retail arbitrage at Marshall's, as you mentioned, Burlington locations, and the outlets. And we do a little bit of consignment where people purchase the shoes, we take them, and we sell them and split the profits. That's literally where all of our shoes come from. There's no special deal that we have. We get the same deal that everyone gets when they walk in the door. It's just, this is why we're excited, is because we don't share anything that cannot be done by you watching this right now. Now, there might be some intricacies, like if you have a child, you may have to switch up your sourcing schedule. If you have a child, you may have to set up your deliveries a different way. But if you have children, they can help work with you, they can help clean, they can help list.
You can sell their things that don't fit.
There's so many ways. Now, what it comes down to is a mindset, and I'm not gonna get all kumbaya and like, whatever, but the reality is, if you are thinking about how to solve the problem rather than thinking about why you can't win, those seconds are valuable and they multiply. What you think about grows. So we are constantly like, hey, this didn't work, how do we solve it? Or this is working, how do we do more of it? And the people who are that message us, obviously not on this feed, but the people that message us in the DM saying, yeah, but in my area Facebook Marketplace doesn't work, you shouldn't do it. Because you're already in the mindset where it's not going to work. But if you message us and you're like, hey, I'm not sure how to build momentum in my area on Facebook Marketplace, one, watch this whole live Q&A, but start asking us specific questions, because we're going to be able to solve that. And then all it is going out and applying that knowledge and actually going and doing it. As we finish up here, guys, we want to answer all of your questions. So this is the last couple minutes. Put your questions in the comments below. If we haven't answered your question and it was further up, you can always shoot us a DM. This is what you're going to get from us here on our YouTube channel. We want to be very interactive. We want to share only things that we have done. We never talk about anything that we haven't done specifically ourselves. And it's important for us to share what we do, how we do it, so that you can find wins literally every single day. We sell shoes every single day.
Lord Brannigan says there's a certain percentage profit you try to make on each pair as a minimum. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Yep.
Set your bar as worst case scenario, doubling your money. Do not set your bar at worst case scenario, I'll get my money back. Set the bar higher. It's been our experience that it's very, very difficult when you're solving problems and you're strictly sourcing. It's very, very difficult not to double your money. Period. Now, with used shoes, we keep our average buy cost under $10, and worst case scenario, we sell for $20 or $25 after fees on online stuff. But this live Q&A, we're talking about local meetups, so we'll sell that pair for $25. And with brand new pairs, you can source at all those places we talked about when they're hosting sales. You can get pairs under $25. Of course, you always want to be checking comps, but sell them for, $40 or $50. Doubling your money, worst case scenario.
Lorenda said, in the beginning, by accident, I sourced some shoes without insoles and probably have 10 pairs without. So do you have any suggestions on what to do with these?
So learn from your mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. Now learn from it. Leapfrog those mistakes. So you can do a couple things. You can source brand new insoles and put them in, and then just in the description say they have replacement insoles. You can redonate them and take it as a lesson learned. Yeah, you're gonna.
Laces out, though.
Before you donate them, take the laces out, because then you can use those laces on future pairs that you find that don't have laces. What else would you do? I mean, here's the thing.
You could source used pairs that have good insoles for super cheap. Like if your thrift store has, like, we've heard of people that have like 50-cent day, or ours have $1 day and stuff like that. Find pairs that maybe the shoe isn't a brand you like or you sell, or maybe there's a hole in the shoe or something, but the insole is in good shape. Buy that for $1 and use that insole, because that's a better price than most insole, like new insoles you can buy.
Here's one thing that we do. What was her name? Here's one thing we do not suggest. Lorenda. Some people think that And it's a good, like, okay, how do I problem solve? Well, if I just list in the description that they don't have their insoles, there are some people out there that have custom insoles and they may buy them and put their custom insoles in there. Now, okay, that's logically, it makes sense. But as a full-time reseller and someone who's trying to build momentum and build relationships, if you start listing shoes that are not complete, it hurts your business. People look at your listings and say, what? This person's selling shoes that don't have their insoles? Like, I'm not interested in buying stuff from them. Even the people who have those replacement insoles that may buy from you, they're not going to come back and buy from you because you're buying an incomplete thing. It's like selling a car that's missing the steering wheel. You can do it. People may buy that shoe, but then they got to go buy the steering wheel. They got to have the thing, and it's harder to have repeat buyers. And they're definitely not going to be telling people, hey, I bought a car from someone and they didn't have a steering wheel. And they're definitely not going to try to buy them full price from you because they're missing the insole. So it hurts you more to try to list. So lesson learned, don't source shoes anymore that don't have the original insoles. We've given you a bunch of options on how to solve the problem now. Just be super careful trying to solve the problem by listing them without their insoles. Hey, who is it?
Jelena.
Thank you so much, Jelena.
Thank you guys for all the useful information. You guys are amazing and so helpful all the time. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. I think we just saw some, yeah.
You both rock, always inspiring and full of info and energy. Thank you for sharing. Coach Delgado said hello, love the videos.
Thank you so much.
Fair asked, do you buy or sell at flea markets?
So the last thing we want to leave you with is, the reality is you can actually buy, I know you said flea markets, but we're going to stick with Facebook Marketplace. You can actually buy shoes on Facebook Marketplace, clean them up, take better photos, better description, and resell them back on Facebook Marketplace. That's a completely okay thing to do as well. No excuses. We have dabbled a little bit, to answer your question specifically, into the flea market thing. We didn't like it as much. There are people that absolutely crush, you know, you set up a table and either go and buy a bunch of stuff or you set up a table with all the stuff. We've done it. We don't like to be obligated to be in one spot for a period of time. It's weird.
Anywhere.
It's weird, but it's just our reality.
That's
so
why we do this.
Again, that's why we're full-time resellers, is because we make our own schedules. So, and I know it sounds weird, like being obligated to be at one spot, because if we set up a delivery, we got to be at that spot. But what we mean is, we don't want to be obligated to be somewhere for a long period of time, because we want to be able to just randomly change up and go do something different. So for us personally, Rinzi, we don't like setting up tables at flea markets, but that doesn't mean you can't be super, super successful. We know people that are super, super successful selling at flea markets. So try it out, see if it works for you. For example, in Maine, they have like the, quote unquote, the biggest garage sale or the biggest flea market in the world. I'm sure that every state has their biggest flea market in the world. And it's hundreds and hundreds of people that have set up tables. And they make thousands of dollars in a weekend. So lots of things.
People don't like being stuck in one place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Respect who you are.
Clock in places. We just like to do our own thing.
Yeah. Just after this live feed, guess what? We're doing nothing.
You might be able to hook up with someone though that goes to flea markets and maybe like purchase part of their table and see if they'll sell it. Like we had one young woman that lived a few towns over. This was a while ago, probably 2.5 years ago, and she was like, hey, I go to the flea market and have a table. Do you guys want to put some of your shoes on my table and then I take a percentage? And we were like, cool, let's try it. And then it was just a little bit too trying to get her to pay her
labor-esque,
back. Yeah, but something like that might work if you don't want to physically sit there, but you know someone that does. It's another way to get your inventory out there.
All right, guys, here's what we are going to leave you with right now. We really appreciate your time and attention. It's literally the most valuable thing that you can ask from an individual. So for you guys to hang out and ask us questions, it means the world to us. If we didn't answer your question, or if you have more that come up later, you can shoot us a DM on Instagram. You can jump into the feed because this video is going to be posted and forever. And if you want to jump in and ask us more questions, please do so.
Really quick. So one thing that a couple people have asked, links to things that we use. Shoe racks and things like that are right in our bio on our Instagram, but also if you go to our YouTube videos, like we have a tools video and a few other videos, we put a list of all of the items that we use and links to where you can get them on Amazon. So look in some of the description of our YouTube videos, and the shoe racks are there, and the shoe trees, and the cleaning tools, and everything that we use.
Boom, really good point. That's what we're gonna leave you guys with. Have the mindset, how do I solve this problem? With respect to how you function as a human. You don't have to do certain things, but try to eliminate the friction in the buying process. And the model that we have proven over and over is buy shoes under $10, clean them up, sell them for $25. You can do that over and over and over again, and then build relationships with people in your community. The last thing we're gonna leave you with, when we transitioned from doing only used shoes to starting to get into new shoes, we already had thousands of people that we had trust with, so it was a lot easier for us to get into higher priced items because we had that trust. It will help you tremendously. Even if you stick with only selling used shoes, building genuine relationships with people in your local area will be tremendous. Thank you guys for your time and attention. Lindsay and I are super hungry. We're gonna eat some lunch. We enjoy this. We really enjoyed coming on here and going live and answering your questions and chopping stuff up. If you have a success story, share it with us. If you have questions, please reach out to us. We talk to hundreds of resellers every single day. We do have the time. If we don't get back to you right away, it's literally because we are sleeping. And we'll get back to you as soon as we wake up. That's all we got. Have a good day, guys. We'll talk to you soon. I forgot how to turn this off.